What's up, Teen Talk fam? It's your host, Miss KK, here with.
Your boy DJ Daddy in the building.
Your boy Lawrence.
Deshaun B.
Hey, your boy B Shaw.
Thank you all for tuning into our show. Now that we've seen what mental health is, let's dive into the coping part that comes with bad mental health. Teens are often labeled as overdramatic. At this time, teens' brains are still developing and new experiences are being unlocked. Instead of calling it being overdramatic, how about we try to understand some of the challenges teens face and how they overcome them? B. Shaw, what is your definition of a coping mechanism?
I feel like a coping mechanism is anything that you do for yourself to make you feel better about a certain situation that could be stressing you out or just overworking you. Anytime you're feeling bad, a coping mechanism is something that you do to bring yourself back up. It could be anything we talked about earlier. It could be like listening to music, or it could even be sometimes people go to the wrong directions for coping mechanisms, such as drugs or alcohol. So it's really important that
Ooh,
people, yeah.
that's
So
a
it's
good
really
one.
important that everyone's like informed of like healthy coping mechanisms, like working out, listening to music or stuff like that, versus going the wrong way and then lowering themselves. And uh,
Right.
yeah,
No, I completely understand what you're saying because there are good coping mechanisms and bad coping mechanisms that have long-term effects that a lot of the times, especially teens, aren't really cognizant of until it's too late to go back. What about you, DJ Day Day? What are some coping mechanisms that you use in your daily life?
Well, I like to listen to music a lot. I feel like that gives me a lot of it relieves a lot of stress. It just gives me. Well, I'm a DJ, so I love music first of all.
Right.
So and I like to meditate and stretch a lot. I always like to stretch. I don't know why, but it makes me it makes my body feel a lot
Feel
better.
good.
Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah.
What
So.
about you, Deshaun B? What are some coping mechanisms that you use in your life?
Some of mine is I just like to cook and talk. Those are really just my two coping mechanisms, and it really helps. Like anytime I'm cooking, I'm laughing. Anytime I'm talking to people, I make them laugh. So it's like I'm always
Yeah.
laughing,
Right.
regardless of what I'm doing. But it
That's
helps
good.
me cope because I feel like laughter cures. It's like you can't
Yes.
be evil and laugh. It's like that laughter always overpower whatever evil you might have had or whatever evil thought that you might have thought. It's like you gotta
That's
really
true.
kind of overpower it with something
Nah,
positive.
there's evil laughs too, though. You gotta
I
be
know the
aware.
Joker, you might want to talk to the Joker. I don't know.
But
Yeah.
the Joker, be I feel like he's more sarcastic with it. Like he be laughing because it really be funny to him. So I feel like that's why he be laughing.
Silly. What about you, Lawrence? What are some coping mechanisms that you use?
I use a stress ball. Basically a stress ball is it's basically like a ball, but it's kind of tough to squeeze. So whenever you squeeze it,
Mm-hmm.
it helps with your stress. I
Yeah.
also I usually watch YouTube videos, my favorite YouTubers and stuff like that.
Right.
And I also just watch ASMR. It just makes me sleep and it feels so good.
Wow.
It gives me a tingle. So it feels good.
Really? I
It
tried
feels
getting into ASMR. I couldn't. I don't know what it was. Like I'm not an ASMR person. I'm definitely somebody who watches those satisfying videos though.
yeah.
Those get me. But the sounds from other people, it's like I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, the people think it's very weird, but once you get used to it, you can understand, what ASMR really means.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I'll
yeah.
let you guys know one of my coping mechanisms is going to the gym. I've been doing that since I was like a kid. Some way, like running and sweating helps relieve like the tension in my head. And overall, I'm just like in a zone and in my own world. So that's one of my favorite coping mechanisms. It's also healthy as well. But dieting is like a big part of being healthy. So the physical
Right.
part, I got that on deck.
For
But
sure.
Bisha, what are some of your biggest challenges as a teen?
that's a tough question. I feel like for me, mainly what I always worry about is like the future, and like I always stress out about like, oh, is it gonna work out how I want it to work out? And I'm trying to work hard, and then I feel like oh, I didn't work hard enough this year, maybe I'm gonna pay for it later. So yeah, like one of the main stresses I have is like basically my work, to be honest. That's like the main stress for me. Everything else is smooth sailing, but my work is what really gets to me. I really have to cope because of stuff like that. So my work.
What about you, DJ Day Day? When you were in high school and your teen years, what was one of the biggest challenges that you had?
Wow. Um, I feel like me was just kind of being consistent, learn how to, be myself, because in school, like my main focus was, I was playing sports and everything in high school and stuff like that. So just, academics, focusing on academics first, because I feel like knowledge is power. Knowledge will get you, much further in life. And a lot of, young teens, especially growing up, depending on where you grow up,
Yeah.
you don't really care about academics and stuff like that. Like if you're playing sports, you just want to, you just want to play football, whatever it is. So, just focusing on school and stuff like that. Even now today, I'm still in school, so it's just, just being consistent with
Yeah.
myself. And
I agree with that. As well, I am 19, so I'm still in the teen range. I'm going to be breaking that this year. I'm excited.
me
But
as
one of
well.
my biggest challenges especially when I was in high school was my academics, actually, my grades. It was to the point where I felt like my grades defined who I was. So if I got like a C or a B on something, I would have like low key a mental breakdown. Like I would be crying. I would have to fix it that day, that time, talk to that
Right.
teacher. I was that kid. And it ended up just really affecting how I saw myself. And it wasn't really a good thing. Yeah, getting good grades is great. But when it starts to impact how you see yourself, that's when it gets a little scary and it gets a little bad. What
Right.
about you, Lawrence? I see that you had your hand up.
So my family is, separated in different states. So right now I'm just living with my dad. So basically, it's the one thing that is kind of stressful for me is just keeping up with stuff. I'm living with my father. So it's
Mm-hmm.
kind of hard for me to do everything like cleaning the house on Saturdays, cooking on Saturdays, so we can be ready on Sunday.
Yeah.
It's just responsibilities. I gotta help my father out, and that's what a son would do. So I'm just,
Mm-hmm.
keeping up with the, I was just keeping up with the house and just
Good
being
son.
responsible.
Yeah.
So
That's
yeah,
awesome. I think we all applaud you for that. I'm going to go
yeah.
ahead and take this question to B. Shaw. How can you turn that challenge into something positive?
You can definitely turn that challenge into something positive by number one, making your challenge something that could better yourself. So like if your challenge is for basketball or football or a sport, you can look at that challenge as not like a task, but like almost like a call, a purpose. So like you can really work
Mm.
hard every practice, every single time you are faced with that challenge, you can make it the hardest thing. Or like you said, like you and me, grades. Like if that challenge made us feel like stressed out, you can look at it as like a opportunity. Like every single second of free time you have can be dedicated to that. Or you can look at it the opposite way and like cool off on it a bit and like take a chill for it a little bit and focus on other areas that would not stress you out as much. So like either face it more or go away from it if it's stressing you out too much.
Okay. And Deshaun B, being as though you're the young adult here, the older one of the adults here, what advice can you give to teens when it comes to challenges and turning it into something positive and not something that they dwell on?
Looking at a bad day for only 24 hours. If you really just look at a bad day for only 24 hours, you won't allow these things to pour over into your next day. Because whatever happened earlier in that day should never stop you or throw you off your frequency or whatever it is you're trying to achieve. Because really, a bad day can really upset you if you allow it. I remember one day, every time I spoke to somebody, they was upsetting me, but I was like, you know what? I'm not about to allow you to ruin my day. And it's like once you put that in the universe will either send you more people just like that person to test you, or the universe is going to bless you with more people who's going to make your day even greater. So just always knowing that one bad day is only good for 24 hours.
Okay.
That's tight.
Yeah, that's some good solid advice. I hope you guys are
I have to
listening.
just throw a little something on.
Now, DJ Day Day, being that you're in college as of right now, what are some challenges and some differences that you notice from being a teenager in high school and being a college student?
Well, I mean, like in college, it's like the whole college experience, right? Like you could basically, you're grown now, so you can do whatever you want to, like, right? And everybody, like all the parties and all that good stuff. That's what the high schoolers really want to know, the fun part about it. But yeah, but I mean the school stuff is good because you get to pick your courses and stuff like that. So it's not like you're forced to take a class that you don't want to take or anything. So it's good for me because I'm learning what I want to learn. So
Right.
it motivates me to continue and be consistent with that for sure.
I like that. And I like that you brought up being able to pick your classes because I didn't know that was like one of the expectations or one of the big deals about being in college is that if you have a professor for like a week and you already like, I don't feel him, I don't think, or
Right.
her, I don't think this is going well, you could just go ahead and take yourself out of that class before the money
Right.
go through all the way.
Yeah.
I was like, that's such a perk that you don't get in high school. Like in high school,
Exactly. Yeah.
it's whoever you got,
You're
whoever
forced,
they assigned you to.
Exactly.
So that's a very big expectation of college students is that we're really taking advantage and taking a hold of our education. There's not going to be a counselor who's going to tell you every single class that you need to take. You're going to have to figure out when you want to take it, how you want to take it, what professor you want to take it. Whereas in high school, it's just set in stone for you. And that's one of the things that I didn't really know about until freshman year. What about you, Bisha? What are some expectations that you think that are really different from when you were in high school to when you're in college?
I'm in high school right now, and I can already tell there's a lot of things in high school that will be very different in college. Like, for example, high school you have to be very independent, but in college you're like 100% all you independent. So that's something that I'm preparing myself for right now because it's definitely going to be a big leap. Especially if you don't go to college where you live, it's also going to be different because like my mom helps me a lot with like managing my time, so I'm gonna have to grow out of that like right now. And yeah, so definitely you're gonna have to be more independent. That's one of the main things for going to college.
Yes, I agree with that. What about you, Deshaun?
I just don't even want to add on to just you can't be procrastinating. I feel like in high school you're able to procrastinate, you're able to go past deadlines, and teachers will still work with you even when they're not supposed to. And then you will go to college, and some professors will still have that same high school mentality, but not all professors are like that. And I feel like just even learning how to master procrastination will really help you because that's what's going to prepare you for the real world. And it's only going to get harder. Your task is only going to get harder. So it's like you have to really fight off that procrastination so you always win.
Real talk.
Yeah. And DJ Day, from your personal experience, has your stress been more or less as you got older?
I feel like it's definitely more when you get older because you take on more responsibilities, right? Like you're learning new things and you just want to be great at those new things and that causes stress and it could be family stress. It could, it can come from anywhere, depending on your situation. But yeah, definitely more when you get older, it's going to definitely be more stress. So I feel like if you can't handle stress, you can't handle success, so.
Yes, that's a good one.
Yeah, it's up to you, what you want to do with it. So
yeah. What about you, Lawrence? As you've gotten older, do you have more stress or less stress?
I would say when I get more older, when I get more older, because there's a lot of work that has to be done and a lot of side hustle stuff got to be done. Once again, responsibilities got to be done and other stuff. It's very important, so it's just a lot on people's shoulders that they have to do. So yeah.
I agree. And as DJ Day said, if you can't handle stress, you can't handle success. And I definitely agree with that statement. I will say the more as I get older, although my stress levels get higher, I also learn more coping mechanisms, and I know how to manage my stress as well. So yes, as I get older, stress comes up here, but so does my stress management skills come right up here. So it doesn't, affect me negatively. And I think
Right.
that's something that we all need to practice as we get older, to find other things that is going to be able to help us combat the stress and can make sure we're still having good mental health.
Right.
Now, thank you all for tuning into this Teen Talk discussion. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at Teen Talk Vegas 881, and also check us out at teentalkvegas.com and keep it locked for more Teen Talk.